What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz podcast here on a Tuesday morning. We're glad that you joined us out there. It's good to see Randy again. Feels like it's been about 2 years since he's been with us. So glad to have him back. And we're going to dive into Auburn, Texas A&M football right around the corner. The dead period is over for football, so we're expecting maybe some commitments coming up here in the month of March. In April, but spring football around the corner. We'll talk about that. But first things first, I want to talk about some of our great partners here. Sensagreen for air that's cool and clean. Call on Sensagreen. They are the carrier experts, proud supporters of Auburn Athletics and the Auburn Blitz podcast. Our good friends at Scout Program Management. They have a ton going on here in the state of Alabama. They are a full-service construction management firm, handling your projects from start to finish in the pre-planning stages all the way to the final build and getting the keys to the building in your hand. Call on Scout Program Management there in Birmingham, Alabama, and then Bunkers on West Glen and Auburn. Excited to be at Bunkers this coming up Friday for our show, and we'll be doing our noon show from there. We'll be doing it podcast style, just like this for the first time. So excited about that. But Bunkers with 50 locations to park your vehicle. So there's no worry of parking in downtown Auburn when you go to Bunkers. They've got it handled for you. The food, the bars, everything. They're building a new bar. It's an awesome place. Got videos from there this past Saturday as Auburn won the SEC championship. A lot of people there. A lot of people hanging around for the Alabama Tennessee game, watching Auburn clinch that with that last second shot for Tennessee. So it was a great environment in Bunkers on Saturday. And we'll get started here with Auburn moving forward. Randy, good to see you this morning.
Glad to be here. It's been a busy time for those of you other than me that are talking Auburn sports, and what a time. Hey, I did want to go back. You made mention of something that popped in my mind. I don't want to get through the show without saying something about it, because you never know who's listening out there, and you never know who this reaches. But I've been in this conversation probably 4 or 5 times in the last week with you and I being up in Birmingham. And, there are some athletes out there, and I don't know if you saw it. Did you see Rick Pitino's comments on recruiting high school?
I did. Yep.
Did y'all talk about it much here, Brett?
I talked about it yesterday on the show a little bit with Jim. Did not talk about it on here with Jason yesterday. No. Mm-mm.
Well, if you haven't seen it, please go check it out. Cam Newton, who's got a really good podcast. I've watched Cam talk over the years, Brett, but in that setting, he's really, really good. And so I highly recommend that you go out there and find Cam's podcast. But he made some, just some clip ins based off of Rick Pitino's comments on recruiting the high school game. And he said, look, Rick Pitino, if you didn't know, he's having an unbelievable resurgence of St. John's basketball. They're a top 20 program in the country. They haven't been there in forever. Just won the conference championship, I think, for the first time in 40 years, Brett. Did I see that stat? I mean, that's wild. Now, St. John's, when Brett and I were growing up, for you youngsters out there that might tune in, was one of the best programs in the country. That was the Big East when the Big East was booming. They had Chris Mullins, yes, but they had, 15, 20 years, Brett, where they were right there in the mix every year? Is that
right.
What your memory?
Oh, yeah.
So Rick Pitino's trying to, grow a resurgence there and is already doing it. But he said, look, we're not recruiting high school kids. He said, I can't replace the 3 key guys that I've got with high school kids. And we've been lucky enough at Auburn to go out and find Tahad Pettifor, who's out of this world. I mean, look at what he did Saturday. But finding that in the high school game, I think you're going to get a lot more Aiden Holloways than you are Tahad Pettifor. Do you agree with that, Brett?
Oh, yeah.
So, I just wanted to say here that, I did the games this past week with our good friend Steve Ward, who is the head basketball coach at Huffman High School, which is one of our top high school programs here in the state of Alabama. And he does it right. And he told me something that I wanted to, bring up to you, Brett, because it's a different way to think about it. He had one of the top point guard off guards in the state this year, 2,500 plus point score. has been one of the best scorers in the state for the last 3 years. And he had a number of offers early on. Now, he was sitting back waiting. When I'm talking about a number of offers, I mean like Troy, Jacksonville
Right.
State. You've seen Peanut play. He can go. But he's a little bit, more like the kid that you saw at Brantley,
Oh,
where, I mean,
yeah.
massive score, but, maybe not projected to be at the level that Tahad is. So you can't project it, so it's halting. One that I saw this week over in Hoover, Brett, Saline London. I think any other year outside of the current structure of the transfer portal, how many of us 10 years ago at Auburn or Alabama would have fought to get Saline London, who's committed to UAB, by the way, who's a 6'5" wing that's been one of the top players in the state for 3 years, a legacy there at Alabama, and still doesn't get the offer. So my point is, it's completely changed. And I know you've been talking recruiting, and we're hoping that we get some guys on the football side. But he said he didn't accept those offers because he was sitting around waiting on an SEC or some bigger offer, and now the others are pulled.
Mm-hmm.
So now he doesn't have those offers on the table anymore. So, Brett, it's the wild, wild west in this transfer portal.
It's a lot more detrimental to kids in basketball than it is in football. When you got 85 and now an expanded roster and the NCAA's expanding that roster, you can get your mix of high school and transfer portal guys, and you're still going to field a majority of your classes with high school guys. You're going to go get need position places from the portal in football. In basketball, you fill your old team up with portal guys. You never even have to dip down into high school. And look, it's a good point. You saw it 2 years ago with San Diego State. They had the oldest team in basketball. They made it to a Final Four, and people said, hold on a minute. They're doing something different out there, aren't they? Bruce Pearl's silently been doing this for a few years. Here are the starting five for Auburn normally. And here are their ages. Miles Kelly, 22 years old. Janai Broome, 22. Dylan Carwell, 23. Denver Jones, 24. And Chad Baker-Mazar is 25. Auburn is almost dead even in age with the Oklahoma City Thunder starting lineup in age. An older basketball team. Alabama's got older players. You can go on down the line. And this isn't going to change because and I thought what Cam Newton said in his podcast really struck a chord. We talk leverage all the time in the leverage game. In football, you got a little bit more from a player standpoint. Basketball, I'm not sure you do, because people are trying to move up to better programs, and they're trying to move up to a higher level of Division I, a Power 5, and there's a very small amount of spots there. They're mature, they're older, they understand the game, they want to get somewhere and provide something for that program so they can move to the next level, rather than a kid coming out of high school saying, hey, what are you going to give me to come play for you? And Cam said it best. He said, these coaches like Rick Pitino's got gray in their hair and all, they're not putting up with this anymore. They don't want to put up with it. They don't want to pet you. They don't want to coddle you. They want to get somebody in there that's going to produce and it's mature. And you look at Janai Broome's pictures when he came out of high school. He don't even look the same. I mean, this guy's much older, much more mature. He's the leading candidate for National Player of the Year, and it's because of the path he's taken. And again, I know this isn't the path for everybody, and I know there's still going to be room for 5+ star guys coming out of high school, McDonald All-American guys. But we have one of the best in the country, and he doesn't start. Todd Pettiford. And Bruce Pearl went in depth about what a great kid he is, and never has said one thing to his coaches about not starting, and never has said one thing to him about not starting, and his family has not called and complained. And I don't know who he was sending that message to. I think I kind of do. But I don't really think he was intentionally taking a shot at anybody. I think he was just saying, yeah, there are still some kids out there that want to be coached, that want to move up the right way and want to do things, even though they're superstar talent, and even though they know they could have gone anywhere else and probably started. So that's what's made this team what it is. But the point you're making about these kids in high school, man, I don't think you can sit around and wait anymore.
Well, it's a tough watch. I hate it. I mean, you and I love high school sports. I mean, we've given our life to high school sports. We talk Auburn, but you and I have given our professional career for 18 years of our professional career to cover high school sports in this state, hopefully as good as anyone that's out there. And I can argue with anybody that we effort as hard as anybody out there to make sure that we cover it. And so I do hate to see, even if it's just one sport or a few, I hate to see those opportunities going away, because I watch these talents and I bring it up to the coaches and to you and some others and go, what am I missing there? Like, what there is not going to project to the next level.
Right.
And I'm not a coach. I don't do it for a living, and you don't either, but I've been around good athletes, but I miss a lot, and you do too. You and I have missed quite a bit over the years. And so it's just very difficult to watch and see how many opportunities are going away. But if there's anybody out there listening and you've got a chance to actually, put your hands on a kid and let him know, hey, look, let's steer you in this direction, and take advantage of the opportunity you've been given, because there may not be another one coming down the line. And I wanted to, next time I got on the show with you, to at least say that. You never know who is going to be listening out there. Not everybody's Sedarian Morgan that you and I have the good fortune of broadcasting for in Ellick City at Benjamin Russell. I mean, he is as good a talent as you're going to ever find in the high school ranks. I saw where he jumped up to the number 7 overall recruit in the country next year, and it's deserved. You watch him get off the bus, and then you watch the way that he plays, and you watch the way that he handles himself, and you watch the way that he interacts with his teammates. I mean, he is everything advertised you would possibly want in a high school recruit. So I'm cheering him on to get everything that he's deserved. But for those of you that are out there that are a really good talent, but you're not sure Alabama A&M or an Alabama State or a Troy or some of these other schools are good enough, then, I hate to say it, you better think twice, and you really have to know exactly who you are, Brett, which is difficult when you've had as much success as a lot of these kids have had in high school.
Apologize for that. Old Gremlin again, so I'm glad I'm back. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I hate it a lot of times for the way the dynamic and the direction of high school sports are going. I mean, but I don't have an answer for it. And again, we look, in the moment you think something is when you have the leverage like high school kids have gotten over the last year and a half with the structure of things, but just hold on. It's going to change again. And it may not change in your favor. And in basketball, man, it's not changing in their favor right now. These coaches are understanding. Bruce Pearl is putting the best team maybe in college basketball history on the floor right now.
Analytics show that.
I mean, and it's done by older guys, and they've got 2 really good freshmen they brought in this class, but neither one of them start, and one of them hardly plays at all. And so if you want to look at what next year could possibly look like for Auburn, if all these rules that have been changed to benefit guys that have been in JUCO and Division II and all this kind of stuff, Auburn could retain Chaney Johnson. Chad Baker-Mazar would be 26 years old playing basketball at Auburn. And the word I've been told by some guys inside that there is a much greater chance of him staying than there is leaving. Denver Jones could return at 24 years old. Tahad Pettiford returning as the youngest guy on the team. And then Auburn goes out and they get 2 really good big men in the portal. That's a top 5 team again next year based on what we're seeing right now. And Coach Pearl's going to go out and add some tremendous talent out of the portal in some need positions when Janai Broom and Dylan Card will leave. He's going to go fill those spots with 2 big men. He's probably already got his eyes on who they are. Auburn's picking up, the JUCO player, and then possibly his brother from Monmouth transferring in. Don't know that yet because the season's not over, but you kind of feel like that's probably going to be a package deal there. And then you got some other guys you're going to add. Auburn's going to just reload next year. How many of those did I say he's getting from a high school? 0. I mean,
You're really not even thinking about it.
There's Auburn's roster. You'll take a McDonald's All-American 5-star plus if he's a fit. But, I mean, who you bumping out of that lineup?
Well, and the kids have to think that way too, which should give. But the problem is even the mid-majors, even the smaller tier schools, they've got to use the same concept. I think that a conversation I had in Birmingham this past week is, what do you think about this? Because you worked in JUCO ranks forever. I mean, there's a chance the way this is setting up that you could create minor league systems. Just hear me out. Say Southern Union over in Auburn, Opelika. You could create a minor league system for Auburn University for players that are right outside of the area of what they're looking for, but they end up there and it's a feeder program. And maybe it's supplemented somehow. I mean, can you see something like that coming down the line? I mean, it feels like the guys that are right outside of, I think a lot are going to have to go the JUCO route. I think that's about to happen. Even the Troys and Jacksonville States are going to have to go out there and get guys that are just a slight step below the transfer that Auburn and Alabama are at.
Well, guess what? In the long run, it may be better for them to do it that way if the NCAA rules JUCO guys can their years don't count against them in Division I.
That's my point.
Yep. I mean, if that's the case, that'll be a natural injection of great players at the JUCO level. And now that level of basketball has increased tremendously when you do that. So you look at Justin, we do have 3 guys committed from high school. Obviously, Simon Walker from Huntsville and Caden Atwood and Sebastian Williams-Adams. But I'm looking at, I mean, do any of them come in and play next year? I don't know. I mean, not if all these other guys come back. I mean, they'll add them to the roster.
Not if he adds 2 or 3 other guys like the JUCO that we've already gotten. I mean, a true freshman out of that mix. And look, I've seen Simon Walker play a lot. And I'm glad we go to Huntsville High and pick up somebody.
But he's not starting over anybody there.
Not now, which is understandable. But if you're not going to,
it's Magwood, not Atwood, by the way.
Yeah. So I get it. I agree with you, though. I think that it's very difficult for an 18-year-old, which is the thing with Ja'Kai Howard. You've got to understand that you are competing with a grown man when you're dealing with a 25-year-old compared to an 18-year-old. You may have unbelievable talent, but that guy's 7 years old.
Well, let's just take this example. Dwayne Brown's going to Tennessee. You and I saw him. I watched him up close and personal, went and interviewed him about a month ago at Hoover. Who am I taking, Janai Broom or Dwayne Brown in a one-on-one? He ain't even close, man.
But you know what? 5 years from now, you may be laughing about that because that's how good he is. I mean, we know that he's going to be that good, but it's not going to be that good at 18.
No,
matched up with a 24-year-old man.
And like you said, I mean, back when everybody was going and getting 5 diaper dandies and putting 5 freshmen on the floor because of the one and done and just rotating those guys through every year, basketball was different. There was no portal. There was nobody transferring in the way they are now. But now you can go get a guy and you build your team completely off portal guys and you build an experienced team.
Let's go down to Auburn right now. So Auburn didn't – if we would have offered any of the 4 that I'm about to bring up, I would guess we would have gotten them out of high school because the places they went were lower tier than Auburn. So Auburn's fed right now by Miles Kelly, who is at Tech. Maybe Auburn couldn't beat Tech out. I doubt it. I bet we could have 4 years ago to get Miles Kelly. Janai Broom, of course, we would have gotten him. Denver Jones is down in Florida playing at a
Florida International.
And he was a great player, but he was at a mid-level school. You know, Chaney Johnson was not even, I wouldn't consider it a mid-level school. And then CBM. I would guess that at Auburn, but you don't know how they're going to progress. So you give yourself 2 or 3 years, you watch their progression, and then you say, oh man, I see something there that maybe I didn't see at 18 years old. And it's changed the whole dynamic. I think that it's important that high school kids hear more of people like Cam Newton setting the record straight. Make sure you hear me out. Know where your leverage is. I mean, we're watching a president right now playing the leverage game every single day with a corrupt world that we live in. And thank the Lord we've got somebody in office that knows how to play this game, or else we'll just stay down the path that we're on. But everything revolves around that. I'm about to leave here in the next 8 minutes and go out there, and I'm going to play a business leverage game for the rest of the week, Brad. And you know that too. I mean, every decision you make is based off of that. But I think that it is important for kids to hear how hard it is out there and take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves, and don't bounce all over the place. You know, you and I were in a conversation with a very good player.
Have I not been screaming this, Randy? I know you play devil's advocate with me a bunch, but have I not been screaming this? I mean, there's something to be said about loyalty and understanding how to plant some roots and fighting through some tough times. And look, I saw Coach Freeze's quote, and, you know, again, thoughts and prayers go out to him with his condition. And he said, you don't know the glory until you go through the valley. I mean, and that's the truth. Look, man, I mean, you can't really appreciate good times if you always have something given to you all the time. And you got to be able to go through some valleys in your life. You got to be able to fight through some things, and everything isn't always going to be roses and rainbows. And we are teaching kids to take your ball and leave at the first sign of any type of adversity. We are creating monsters that do not know how to react and handle pressure. And it's because we do all, and I say we, all of us in the sports world, we gravitate to superstar kids and we want to give them the world, but we're setting them up for failure because when they get out of this system, that's not how it is in the real world. And we know how few make it to the next level, Randy, how few make it to millions of dollars in the pros. So how are you going to maintain that lifestyle?
Well, you're not. And I do devil's advocate you on that. I mean, it's like you can say things to kids till you're blue in the face, and they still at 18 to 22 years old, their brain's not fully developed. They're not making good decisions. They haven't been through life circumstances that maybe you and I have in our old age, looking at us here on this camera, how much we've aged over the last 25 years. But, it does make it really difficult for those kids to be able to fight through some adversity there. And Faith, glad to have you on. And we've been really.
She just decreased the age gap on this.
Yeah.
No, I was literally thinking the same thing. I was like, I have not been through a lot yet. I'm still pretty young, so
you hang out with us long enough, you're gonna go through.
You'll age. you deal with this. But yeah, I got a couple more minutes here that I can go, and I know that I've probably talked a little bit too much on what we heard last week, but I think that you kind of led into that with recruiting, Brett, and y'all's talk yesterday with Jason Caldwell. But I do want to throw this quickly in for Auburn basketball. I hope we finish this thing off well and keep the momentum going in the SEC tournament. You know, the big thing for me is, of course, the NCAA tournament. And I feel really strong that we're going to get the number 1 overall seed. And I think unless some catastrophe happens in the SEC tournament and we lose a game badly that we should, and I think we will, we deserve to play the 8th seed. If we make it to the Elite 8, I'm hopeful that whoever we're matched up with in our regional is the true number 8 seed. And, maybe that's a topic for you to look at, Brett, here in the next couple of days, is that 6 to 10 spot. Who's the 8 seed that Auburn feels really strong about? Doesn't mean that they're going to get there. Right. But when you're as good as Auburn is this year, you've got to look at the matchups, and you got to feel really strong that if those seedings come in right, and let's say it's a Michigan State. You watch Michigan State much this year, Brett?
I have. Yep.
Think we can beat Michigan State?
No doubt.
I think we're a lot better than Michigan State.
Well, way better.
On the offensive end. But
Yeah,
they got a chance.
I'm trying not to jinx anything this
Yeah,
year.
but
Though.
I
I'm
mean,
not saying anything.
if we lose, we lose. I'm just telling you
I know.
my eye test tells me that I would rather have Michigan State than Alabama in the 8th seed.
Oh, well, of course.
Well, but that is how the next couple of weeks are about to play out for Auburn.
Right.
And it's going to be very important that Auburn holds on to this #1 overall seed and gets the matchup that suits us best in that Elite Eight to be able to get back to the Final Four as easily as possible. Now, we can lose to anybody, but it's going to take somebody pretty damn good to beat Auburn this year. And so I'm starting to look at that. Have you checked that out? Either of y'all looked at that so far?
I have. I've gotten some, they put out a mock, every week it changes. I've seen us play, at one point in time on the 8-9 line, it was we were in the bracket and they had UConn down here. I mean, it was just like who wants to draw that as a second round game?
It could.
It could, but hey, look, Houston got screwed. Let's be honest. A couple of years ago when they had to come to Birmingham as the #1 seed, they had to play Auburn in the second round as an 8 seed. I mean, and you heard Kelvin Sampson go, well, what kind of reward is this? We're the #1 seed. We got to go to Birmingham and play Auburn in their backyard in the second round. I mean, that the NCAA makes a lot of decisions, guys, on money. Okay, just like everything else we talk about ad nauseum every day, it's a lot of times it's not right. And you look at how these things are seeded, you would think, oh well, the #1 overall seed, they deserve this. They don't deserve squat because the NCAA saw Auburn and Alabama in Birmingham as an opportunity, as a cash cow, and it was. I went to the games, and you have an opportunity to do that all over the country. They're going to position teams in places where they can draw big gates. So don't know who you're going to get. That's a crazy thing, but UConn's the 2-time defending national champions. I don't think anybody's signing up to play them in round 2. I don't care what kind of season they've had.
Let's say this: I'd rather play them than Florida or Alabama or somebody like that. So
this year,
and that's what we're going to be watching over the next couple of weeks. I'll go ahead and jump out of here. I do want to hit on our companies here in Auburn, though. Lee Apparel and Sign Source, new location. It's 1848 Opelika Road. It's right beside Laredo's as a landmark. If you want to stop by, that's where I'll be all day today. 256-825-0197 is our phone number. We can do projects from start to finish, from designing any sign or apparel need that you have to production to installation of any signage out there. Also got a new company that we've merged with that's here it's actually in Opelika, but in the Auburn Opelika area that's about a mile up the road with Sign Essentials merging in with our Sign Source division. And proud to say that they've got a vast knowledge of school signage to vehicle graphics and installations, and they really open up with their facility a lot of opportunity for us to do fleet graphics and stuff on large majority of vehicles and stuff that's kind of overwhelming to us in Dable right now. So we're glad to add Sign Essentials to our repertoire here with Lee Marketing Group. You can call us overall 256-825-0197. Take care, Brett Faith. Keep them on the straight and narrow, and I'll be tuning into y'all.
Bye, Randy.
See you, buddy. All right. The world traveler is back, everybody. So you don't have to fret anymore.
I know. I'm sorry.
No. Why are you apologizing for going on a nice trip? So there's no apologies.
Anyone hasn't been to Biloxi, Mississippi, I actually think you guys should go. It was fun.
Been to Biloxi a lot, so let's just not. We won't go down that.
Oh, I know why you've been to Biloxi.
Yeah, let's just go. Let's move on from that. Yeah, we do. Biloxi's a great time. If you've never been, it is. It's a cool place to go hang out. So maybe we can share some of those stories a little bit later on. So glad to have you back. Let's get to some comments here. Justin said we're 64 away from 1,000. Yes, we are. 1,000 subscribers here on the Auburn Blitz podcast. And boy, we have rocketed up since last Wednesday. We're going to be, if we get to 1,000, which I think we will today, I feel like we will. And I told you that last week. I said, man, we're going to be at 1,000 by midweek next week. And man, we've got some of the best supporters in all of you guys. Let me just stop and say that. It's because of you guys spreading the word, talking about us. We get so many great comments when we're out in public. I get stopped everywhere I go. I got stopped so many times in Birmingham this past week at the finals that Auburn fans that watch our program. And so we're appreciative. We couldn't do it without all of you guys. So outside of that, it'd just be me and Faith and Randy on here talking in like a teams meeting. So you guys make the show, and we appreciate it so much, and help keep spreading the word. I'm behind on hats. I'm about to have to go do some major shipping. I said I would send out some more hats at 600. Well, we've sprinted by that, so I've got to get several hats in the mail, and I've got a way to do that other than just going and randomly selecting new subscribers or subscribers. We'll do a pick on one of the shows coming up, and we'll just have some type of tagline that you can comment, and everybody that comments that day, we'll go through and we'll randomly select a couple of people that have that tagline on their comment, and we'll select them for a hat. I think that's an easier way to do it, and that rewards people that are engaged with the program, that are watching, and so excited. So yeah, Duran, you need a hat.
He gets the 600 one.
Yeah, he needs the 600.
You said that. I do. I will fact check you on that.
You're going to fact check me on that already?
Yeah.
See, she's already back and calling me out. Didn't take but about 3 or 4 minutes, and she's right back on me. So, all right, Jerron, I will do what Faith just told me to do, and I don't doubt that I didn't say that, but I don't remember. I don't remember it, so I'm going to be honest. But I will give you the 600 hat, Jerron. So there it is. That's how easy it can be done. So there's
you're fact checking.
Faith has your back on that. All right, let's look at thought this was a good comment by Justin earlier. After Aiden, Chance Westry, Johan Traore, Philon, and how stressful some of the other 5-star recruiting is, I think Bruce is just about done with high school recruiting too, maybe a few here and there. And look, I think he's changed his philosophy. I think Rick Pitino, Faith, I don't know if you called earlier what we were talking about. Kelly Waldrop loud and clear from 32,000 feet in the plane over Mississippi. Not going to make the game, be pulling us through from Texas. There you go, brother. Pull us through out there, but Kelly watching way up in the sky as he's flying to Texas this morning. So safe travels out there to you, my friend. But yeah, I think it's a different philosophy. And when you go out and get some older, mature guys that have experience, and I hate to say this, but you get some of these maybe younger prima donna guys out of high school that it's all about, hey, what you going to give me? What you going to give me? Some of these coaches are like, I don't really have to go through that anymore. I can go fill my roster with all these different rules that are being put in place, with adding additional years on to guys' eligibility that maybe played at a lower level like JUCO or Division II or Division III. I don't have to go out and depend on a bunch of 18-year-old guys to come and fill my roster anymore. So it has definitely changed, Faith. It's a different world that we live in. It changes every day.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think, I know we've already talked this through, but I think that's also the whole conversation with who player of the year, going back and forth, is because Cooper Flagg is so young and Janai is
so old.
In
basketball terms, he's 25 years old. He's not 25. He's not 25. Chad Baker's 25. But Janai is an older guy. I went over the ages of everybody. Janai's 22. But he's part of one of the oldest teams in college basketball. They're just shy of the Oklahoma City Thunder average age. That just tells you. Now, Chad Baker, Mazar, and Denver Jones jumps it up there pretty good when they're 25 and 24. But Dylan Cardwell's 23, Miles Kelly's 22, Janai's 22. So it's an older, more experienced group for sure. So, hey, look, it's working. It worked for San Diego State a couple of years ago. They made it to the Final Four with the oldest team in basketball. Alabama's got older players. Look at Mark Sears. I mean,
Right.
he coming into the season, everybody thought he was going to be the national player of the year, but things have kind of changed on that front. But look, Janai Broome hanging around and going the path he went
Look at where he's at.
That's right.
Like,
It's worked out for him.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm with you on that.
So see,
and yeah, I was listening earlier about now with the JUCO guys being able to have their Division I years given back to them and not taken away from being at JUCO. They're going to be a lot older. That's just how it's going to be.
Right. I agree. Justin, I think they'll be number one if they win tonight, like locked up number one overall seed. That would complete a road schedule of, no losses. And who in the world would have thought anybody would have gone through, and again, knock on wood, we haven't won the game yet, but got to go on the road one more time. And if you win that game, you won all 9 of your road games in this league, and it's the hardest the SEC's ever been. All right, so Auburn's a 5.5-point favorite tonight at Texas A&M. Of course, the daggum thing starts at 8 o'clock. Do we draw that time slot every week? I mean, it is like, good Lord.
Do some people realize I have to be in bed
to get up and do a podcast?
They don't care.
They don't care.
At least we're not doing an after post-game show tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we
kind of got saved by the game starting at 6 in Birmingham.
Yeah.
The Ole Miss game. So that wasn't terrible. By the way, we had a lot of people tune in after. Didn't have a lot tuning in during, but then I looked and I saw our numbers shot up after that. So people woke up and went, "Oh, they did a show." So it was a lot better doing it after a 6 o'clock game versus an 8 o'clock game. But we better be ready. Football season, Faith. All I can tell you, we're going to be doing after game reaction shows more than likely from Bunkers every single Saturday. So we're excited. You and I'll be at Bunkers this Friday, and got possible special guests that'll be joining us. I haven't even told you about that yet.
I was going to say.
So you don't even know about that. You've been so out of pocket, I can't reach you. She's been world traveling. But anyway, I'll let you in on that here in just a little bit. But come out to Bunkers on Friday. We'll be doing the show from there. Man, I had videos sent to me from Bunkers on Saturday. That place was packed and partying and celebration, and Auburn beating Kentucky, and then Alabama losing the way they lost. I mean, it was a party. I was jealous. I hated I couldn't be there. And then you had Mardi Gras on top of it and everything that was going on down there with Mardi Gras. Boy, that place was just rabid on Saturday. So, but we'll be there. We'll be back at Bunkers on Friday, pre-Iron Bowl edition. So, Iron Bowl basketball eve, round number 2. Jerron gives you a thanks there for the hat. So, yeah, you can
fact check.
Absolutely, the fact check. I like to be fact checked. Why not, right? Basketball TV is stupid. Yeah, it is, Mark. I agree with you on that. 8 o'clock sucks. I don't care who you are, and I don't normally go to bed early. Faith knows that. I'm up at. I'll send her a text about something I find at 11:30. I know she's probably way looking at her back of her eyelids at that point, but she gets it when she wakes up in the morning. So, but yeah, it's not conducive for good TV. You got to stay up late. People got to go to work if it's a Tuesday or Wednesday night. Justin said, "What's greater, 8 p.m. AU games or Alabama car Rapids?" Well, guess what? We get to have both. Justin, on Saturday, we get an 8 o'clock game this week with Texas A&M, and then we get to have Mr. Your conference record is 500 Carl Ravitch come into Neville Arena. So with the literal dumbest quote maybe in broadcasting history. I mean, fact check me on that one, Faith. That's a pretty dumb quote. And then he tried to continue to back it up and say, well, I mean, I'm just stating the facts. Well, no crap. I mean, yeah. I mean, at some point, if ever your conference record is way off, something is bad off. Okay? Like the North Pole has shifted and the world's about to roll over if that's happening. Okay? So, it's one of those things where when you say something stupid and you go, yeah, I said that and that was kind of stupid, but I'm going to figure out a way to talk myself out of this and make myself look like I've got some rationale. But there was no out on that comment. Like, you said something stupid. You should have said, yeah, you know what? I kind of screwed that one up. That would have been better than just kind of keeping the narrative going. But, oh, well.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to say, my bad.
Yep, my bad. I screwed that up. All right, Dick Vitale coming. Yes, Dick Vitale will be there. That'll be special as he makes his comeback tour, and what a great story that is. But all right, Faith, we're 5.5-point favorites. Wade Taylor, he's the man. He's been the man at Texas A&M for a long time. They're 20-9. They just came off a pretty big thumping by Florida. Their backs are against the wall a little bit here as they have fallen to number 22 in the poll. They've got LSU coming up after us, and so they would need – I mean, they're sitting there. When you look at the standings, what a massive win this would be for them. Obviously, we say that every week anytime anybody plays Auburn. But if they were to lose this game, they'd be 9-8 in league play and 20-10. So their resume is creeping downward for sure.
They're on a 4-game losing streak.
Yeah, let's hope it's 5.
Yeah, no doubt about that. But
here's a fact.
Their record at home hasn't been. They're 12-3 at home this season,
right?
And we've talked about earlier. I feel like in February about how that place was hard to win at. And recently it's
not been so much.
Yeah, not as much. But I mean, I still think this could be a game if we go in there super comfortable that we will kind of could throw it away.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Anytime you go on the road, if you're not ready to play, and I think when you look at it from their standpoint, they know this matchup historically, Faith, has not been good for us. I mean, I think are we 2-4 in our last 6 against them? I think I heard Bruce maybe 2-5. It hadn't been good. We don't match up with them and what Buzz does system-wise very well. So, this is going to be a tough game tonight. It's 8:00. Need to get off to a good start. We've been getting off to good starts lately, and it's translated into good results.
I was real worried about it against Kentucky once our good start, they started creeping back. And then that's kind of when I texted you, and I was like, is your TV gone out?
Oh, God. I mean, it was – yeah, we were at a chili cook-off, and we're trying to do all that and then watch the game, and then the dang TV goes out, and everybody's went out. People were blowing.
I had an anxiety attack. I was like, "Is it mine?"
Yeah.
I went on all my ESPN Plus, my YouTube TV, everything. I was like, "What did I do?"
And daggum generator blew up in the truck and caught on fire. So that kind of ended that. I'm not sure that a Kentucky fan went out there and set the thing on fire on purpose, but huge win there. I know you and I haven't even talked about that. It's our first time back together since last Friday. So I believe, did we do it Friday?
I can't remember. On here Friday.
Yeah, that's right. Jason. That was Jason. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You were traveling. So yeah, you were on the road. So been kind of all over the place. But yeah, so this is the first time we've been back on since the post game show after Ole Miss, so it's been a week. So yeah, the Kentucky game was massive. Being able to break that curse and get that monkey off our back, and so we're knocking some things. We're checking a lot of boxes this year. Check the box of being the regular season champion with the way things kind of played out Saturday, and just got to finish these 2 games. You got this one tonight, and then you got, obviously, you don't need any type of extra hype built around what's happening on Saturday with Auburn and Alabama. So obviously you and I'll talk more about that as the week progresses and we get closer to that, and we'll be back on tomorrow to talk about the results of this Texas A&M game. Hopefully a very positive result in this Texas A&M game. I know we're getting close to the end of the show this morning. So I have football on there. I've got the wrong banner up there now for some reason. I don't know why.
I was wondering. It was on when Randy
Well,
was too.
I have no idea why that popped up. That's my fault. But it was because the gremlin in this computer kicked me out again. And so when I came back, I guess it reverted back to
I saw that.
banner.
I thought you were just letting Randy have his moment.
Well, maybe. Okay. I'll ride with that. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll take my Carl Ravitch comment back. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah. What was I saying? So,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's the right banner. I'm looking down. As I was looking down, I'm like, where's football at? Because I know I put it on there. So dead period's over. I expect Auburn with the recruiting to ramp up, and as far as some commitments maybe coming this month. You got Big Cat coming up in the first part of April. We've heard Jason talk about why that's been moved up because of the OVs, the official visits of players being moved up. And so things are just, everybody's having to change with the way they've done things historically to kind of keep up with the times. But I'm going to be looking at several guys up close and personal. Some guys at Auburn, I think, really want to be part of this class. You know, I know some guys here locally. We talk about Sedarian ad nauseum, but there's another kid in Jaquez Wilkes at Wadley that you and I saw at the Super 7 up close and personal, plays for a small school just right up the road from Auburn, right up the road here from where I am. Phenomenal player. Is getting a lot of looks, and rightfully so. He's a top-ranked player in the state here in this class coming up. And, so we'll highlight some guys like that. Of course, I know a lot about them personally through the HSA and everything that I do there. And so I'm going to be able to bring some insight to some of these guys that I know a little bit more about maybe than some of these other places that you can get some information. Not a cut against anybody. It's just the relationships that I have and being able to talk to some of these guys one-on-one. So, but Jaquez Wilkes would definitely be one that we profile. We'll talk about all the top 10 guys in state. Auburn had such a great signing class in state this year and dominating the top 10 outside of a couple. We're in on those guys too, and almost had a clean sweep of the top 10. It's going to be a big push from Alabama to start chipping away at that this year, because they kind of got left out of this thing this year. So they're going to try to change that narrative. Kalen DeBoer understands that he can't go over in the top 10 in state and maintain. So you're already seeing Alabama in the mix on a lot of guys in the top 10 and some commitments that they've got to get to the finish line. But Auburn's got a lot of work to do and got a lot of guys that are high on Auburn. Got to get them in on some official visits and try to seal the deal. And as we head through the month of March, Faith, I can't even begin to tell you how busy this month's going to be for us. It's just, my head spins when I think about it, with March Madness, spring football, you and I with a partnership we're going to be announcing a little bit later on to everybody that we're excited about. So we're going to be covering Auburn athletics ad nauseum, doing some cool things there. So isn't there 24 hours in a day?
I don't know anymore.
My Lord. So, yeah, it's a lot that we got coming up. So, we'll wrap it up here. I've got a very busy morning. I know you're going to get on the road to get back as well, to the best place on earth, Auburn, Alabama.
Please bring me back.
Yeah, so you're ready to get back. But again, we want to thank everybody once again as we approach. And our good friend Justin Clayton, I got to give him a shout out if he's still watching, designed a hellacious intro for us here on the Auburn Blitz. Excited about that making its appearance here in the next day or two on our podcast. Man, we just keep building and enhancing. But Justin is the man. I appreciate him more than he knows. He comes through in a pinch. He always does. He's the guy. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we'll just give him props. But ask and you shall receive. And great opportunity there, or great job there of producing a really cool intro for us that we'll be pushing out here the next day or two. But want to thank our sponsors again. Couldn't do the show without them. And it is turkey season, man. When you get to March, that's where my mind goes if I have time to even go. It's kind of like fishing. I took a little bit of time to go fishing Sunday and had almost forgotten what it was like to catch a fish. It had been so long. And I got back reacclimated pretty quick. Caught a pretty nice one Sunday. And so turkey season, I am going to make some time for turkey season for sure. But you need to head over to Sure Shot in Alexander City for the latest in all the turkey apparel. If you're a deer hunter, obviously they have some things on sale now that the season's over that you can buy. They sell trade, new and used firearms. So if there's something that you're looking at, a rifle, a shotgun, a handgun, they've got it all there. Maybe you've got something you'd like to trade in and upgrade what you have. Talk to Scott Watson. Tell him I sent you there. He'll take care of you. Call him 256-329-0080 here in Alexander City. And then Oliver Ross, who doesn't need a fully licensed, experienced bartender at their private party or function? And they'll take care of you from start to finish. You'll be the talk of all of your friends when they tell everybody what a great party they were at your place when you hire Oliver Ross to handle all your bartending needs. So they handle massive events from 20,000 all the way down to parties of 50. So make sure you call on Oliver Ross for all of that. And of course, we couldn't do the show without Sense of Green, Scout, and Bunkers, which you and I will be at on Friday, Faith. And that just Bunkers just makes you smile. It makes me smile when we say the word, because I think you're already thinking about what we're going to eat in Bunkers. That's kind of where my
mind. I need to rework my golf swing is what I think.
Hey, we're going to be getting some golf footage on film this time. So just bring that A game, Faith. Bring that A game.
I'm going to make sure my dad comes so he can.
Well, I think he'll be in town, right?
Yeah.
So there he is. So yeah, he was a little critical. I did a little video of you last time. I thought it was pretty good. Your dad didn't think so much. So
no,
that's what dads do. We're a little hard.
He knows my potential. He's seen my potential.
Right. He doesn't want you to settle for mediocrity, right?
Yeah.
So all right. We're not going to end on a mediocre note. We're going to end on a high note. And we want to thank all of you out there for watching every single day, whether you watch us live and interact with us or whether you catch us later on in the day. We know it takes, you got things to do and you catch us when you can, and we really appreciate it, even if you're in an airplane like Kelly. So, yep, it's we got people watching from all over the place, and we really appreciate it very, very much. We'll be on the air at lunch today. I won't be, but Andy will be back. Glad to have Andy back. He's been a little under the weather, so glad to have him back. And then Jim will be on with him at lunch, so make sure you tune that in for the Auburn Blitz show statewide on Charter 701. And, of course, right back here on YouTube and on Facebook, and you can comment away with them as well. So Faith and I, again, will be at Bunkers on Friday. Excited about that. So make sure you make some plans to come out and see us, and we really appreciate our partnership there with Bunkers. But hope everybody has a wonderful Tuesday, safe out there, and a big old War Eagle. Hope Auburn wins tonight.
War Eagle.